Good morning. Hi. Hello, everyone. Today, I'm going to teach 5th standard science. In that, the continued part of the lesson, animals around us. Children, in the last class, we learned about different types of animals, how they will breathe. Is it? And then their feeding habit, whether they are herbivore, carnivore, omnivore. So, in this class, we are going to learn the other characteristics of the animals. Okay, let's start the lesson. See, students, in the last class, we learned about the breathing in animals. As you know that the animals take oxygen and gives out carbon dioxide that is present in the atmosphere. By taking oxygen and giving out of carbon dioxide, different animals have different parts. Some of the animals have moist skin to breathe. Some of them have gills for breathing. And some animals have lungs for breathing purpose. So, if we come to the animal like earthworm, it has a moist skin for breathing. Come to the fishes, which has gills to breathe. And the amphibians, none other than frog. They live both in land and water. They have moist skin as well as lungs for breathing. Come to the highly evolved organism, they are human beings. Human beings have lungs for breathing. Up to here, we have learnt in the last class, including feeding habit. Feeding habit including herbivores, carnivores, omnivores. They will eat only plants, herbivores. Some of them, they eat only flesh, carnivores. Some of them, they eat both plant and flesh. They are omnivores. Is it? So, in today's class, we are going to study about movement in animals. Yes, children. As you know very well that living organisms have certain characteristics. They are breathing, movement, and feeding habit. So now we are going to study about movement in animals. How the movement takes place in the living organism. As you know that every living organism move from one place to another place by so many ways because of search of food, to get shelter, and for other reasons. So why they will show the movement? Movement in animals. Animals move from one place to another place by various reasons, children. They move in search of food, to build or find the shelter, and to protect themselves from enemies. They have limbs or other body parts which helps in moving from one place to another place, children. Okay. So movement in land animals. How the movement takes place? Where the animals live on land. Many animals have four limbs. The front limb are called forelimbs. And the limbs at the back is called as a hind limbs. The limbs which is present in the front, we call it as a forelimbs. And the limbs that is present on the back, we call it as a hind limbs. Okay, children? So some use all the four limbs for the movement. The forelimb also as well as the hind limb also. So some use only hind limbs for the movements. Mean back legs they will use for moving from one place to another place. Some animals stand or rest on their hind limbs and hold things with the forelimbs, the limbs which is present in the front. They hold the object through the forelimbs and they will move from the hind limbs. Isn't? Yes. See, herbivores have hooves to travel. They will travel for a long distance. So they use the hooves for the traveling. Why they travel? In search of food, in search of plants. Most of them are short-feeted and can move in rough terrains. As you can see, example of them are some of them they will move in rough terrains. Ostrich, kiwi, and emu are flightless birds. Some birds are there, they will not fly because of their body design. Example, ostrich, because of heavy weight, it can't fly. Kiwi and emu, you can see in this picture, they uses their hind limbs for running, for moving from one place to another place, children. See, this is about the movement in the terrestrial animals or the land animals. How the movement takes place in aquatic animals. Fish have fins, children. Yes, everyone has seen the fins of the fish, and it has backside tail. You can see the fins as well as the tail in the fish, which help them to, yes, for swimming. Different fins have different purpose. Like moving purpose, it will use forward, turning, and keeping upright position. If you have sawn the fish, it will move forward, it will turn, and it will move in a upright position. The paired fins helps fish to move forward. If you will notice the fins which is present in the fish, that helps in moving forward. The unpaired fins help them to maintain balance of the body. And if you will see the tail helps them change the direction itself. Isn't it, children? Yes. So come to the turtle. Turtle uses their paddle-shaped feet. If you have seen the turtle, it has a paddle-shaped feet to move in water. They're called as flippers. Yes, turtle use flippers to swim in water. What about the frogs? Frogs use webbed feet to swim in water and their hind legs to jump. So on the frog, they use the feet for swimming purpose and they will use the hind legs to jump on the land. Come to the penguins or the flightless birds. They have strong flippers as their forelimbs. For what they will use these flippers or the forelimbs? They will use them to swim. Okay, now children, here turtle use paddle-shaped feet to move in water. Frog used webbed feet to swim in water. And penguins are the flightless birds. They use the flippers as their forelimbs, which they use them to swim. As you know that the penguins, it will swim. They use their hind limbs to walk. Have you seen the penguins? No, in that penguins, they will use the hind limbs for walking. They will walk also, they will swim also. So, for the swimming, they use the forelimbs, whereas for the hind limbs, to walk on the land. So, what about the movement in the insects? The insects will also move? Yes. Insects will also move from one place to another place, children. Yes. Insects have so many legs. Insects have 6 legs, children. Most insects use their 6 legs for movement also, movement purpose. They will use these legs for moving from one place to another place, children. Then ants and cockroach crawl on their legs. You have seen the ants and the cockroach. They will crawl on their legs. They will move from one place to another place with the help of the legs, children. Okay. Grasshopper uses their long hind legs to hop. You have seen the grasshopper. It will hop from one place to another place. How? They use their long hind legs for hopping. Okay. Butterflies, bees, and houseflies have wings. You have seen the wings of butterflies, bees, and houseflies. How they will move? They use the wings for movement. Okay. Their wings are different from birds' wing, children. What you can see, the wing of butterfly, bees, and houseflies are totally different from the wings of the birds, children. They do not have bones, strong muscles, or feathers. Okay. So, these butterflies, bees, and houseflies, they fly, but they doesn't have wings like the birds. They doesn't have strong bones, muscles, and feathers. Okay, they're made up of tiny scales. Butterflies and wasps have two pairs of wings. We can see the wings in the butterfly, which is so beautiful. So, the butterfly and wasp have two pairs of wings, while housefly, it has one pair of wing. Okay. So, in insects, we have seen the legs in butterflies and bees and houseflies wings. We have noticed which we use for moving. Okay. So, come to the movement takes place in the reptiles. Reptiles are the group of animals. They will crawl. Okay, by crawling, they show the movement, children. Okay, animals like snakes, lizards, crocodiles, and tortoise or come to the group of reptiles. They crawl on the ground, so that's why we call the reptiles as crawling animals, children. Okay. Animals like snakes, lizards, crocodiles, tortoise, they crawl on the ground. Okay. Most of them can move fast for short distance. Crocodile can even move in water, as you have seen that crocodile, it will move in water. Is it no? Yes. Snakes do not have limbs, no children? Yes. They have scales on their lower side which are attached to the ribs with muscles. If you see the snakes, we can see the scales on the snake which is attached to the ribs, muscles. They move the scales back and front for moving from one place to another place. Some snakes are also there. They will move. They will swim also. They can able to swim in water. Some of them, they can climb trees. So the snake do not have limbs, but they have scales for moving forward and backward. Okay, so some snakes are able to swim also. Some of them can able to climb the trees also. Okay, okay, no? So movement in humans. How the humans will take the movement. As you know that humans have two pairs of limbs. The upper limbs and the lower limbs. The upper limbs are called arms and the lower limbs are called legs. So they use the legs for standing, walking, running purpose, children. Since they use this leg for movement also, as we have pair of limbs, the upper limbs, we call it as the arms, which we will use for holding the objects and doing so many things. And the lower limbs are called legs. They use the legs for standing purpose, walking purpose, running purpose. Since they use only the legs for movement. Yes, we will use our legs for moving. They have an upright posture. They use their arms. For what purpose? For holding the things. For working. We will use our arms, children. Okay. So, different animal shows movement by the different ways. Is it no? Yes. So, come to the migration. Migration means, as you know that, moving from one place to another place. Why? Because of climatic change, or in search of food, or to get the shelter. For so many purposes, the animals will move from one place to another place. So we call that one as migration. Okay, no children? So large scale movement of an animal species takes place. They will move from one place to another place. We call it as migration. Okay. Animal migrate. Why? To escape from the harsh climate or in search of food. Okay. And bird like Arctic tern can travel a long distance. Even they will travel a distance of 71,000 kilometers from Arctic to Antarctic and it will be get back. So the animals, they will show the movement. They will move from one place to another place in search of food because of the climate or by different reasons. They will migrate from one place to another place. Another one example is Atlantic salmon fish leave their river of birth and migrate to the sea. Why? To live as a part of their life cycle. They return to the river for again to lay eggs in the same place where they born. So this will also show the migration, movement from one place to another place, children. There are a lot of animals are there. They move from one place to another place in search of food or because of the harsh climate. When monarch butterflies migrate, they reproduce on the way. And next generation to travel along to complete the migration. Have you seen this one? The butterflies. That is a monarch butterflies. What they will do? They will also migrate from one place to another place and they will lay eggs. They reproduce on the way and the next generation too travels to complete the migration process. So the next is caribou, which is a deer-like animal. Where it live? It live in Arctic region. In winter, they will migrate to the south part, the southern part, in search of greenery, grazing grounds. Because they want to survive. They need the food for surviving. So they will move to different part. They migrate to southern part in search of greener grazing grounds. Wild beasts travel across African plains in search of water. Not only the food, but for water also, the animal will migrate. Okay, no children? When the water sources dry, they move to other places in search of more grass as well as the water. If you see here, the caribou, deer, it will move in search of greenery, grazing ground. Whereas the wild beast, they will move from one place to another place in search of the water as well as the grass, children. Okay. So some of them, they will show the movement. They will show the migration. We call that movement as a migration. For the search of food, they will move. In search of water, in search of shelter, for different purpose, animals move from one place to another place, children. Every winter, thousands of Siberian cranes also migrate to India. When summer returns, they again fly back to the distance from where they came, the original place. Okay. So children, in this lesson, we have learnt about different concepts. That is, the first one, how the animals, they will breathe. Is it? So, the organs of the breathing will learn, and breathing, how it will take place in animals. That is, by taking off oxygen, giving out of carbon dioxide. Okay, so it needs so many organs in our body for breathing. Some animals like earthworm, they breathe through moist skin. Some of them, they breathe through gills. And some, they will breathe through moist skin as well as the lungs. And the highly evolved group, that is the animals, they will breathe with the help of the lungs. And then we learnt about the feeding habit of animals. Herbivores, we learned rodents, carnivores and omnivores. The topic what we discussed today is movement in animals. Animals move from one place to another place in search of food, shelter and by so many reasons. Movement by land animal takes place with the help of forelimbs and hind limbs. And movement in aquatic animals takes place with the help of fins and by the tail. They will move front, back. In turtle, they use the paddle-shaped feet. We call it as flippers to move in water. Frog use webbed feet to swim in water. and hind limbs for jumping. Penguins, they have flippers as the forelimbs which they use for swim and the hind limbs for the moving in the land. Insects have legs. All the legs, they will shows the movement. Butterflies, bees and houseflies has wings. But the wings is not like the bird's wings. Okay. By the wings, they show the movement. Movement in reptiles. Some reptiles like snake, lizard, crocodile show different ways in moving. Snake do not have limbs. They have the scales that helps in moving from one place to another place, which is attached to the ribs of with the muscles. In human being show the movement with the help of the pair of limbs. The upper limb is present, we call it as arms, and the lower limbs is called legs. Through the legs, the human being show the movement. Migration. The migration, it will take place in so many animals. They will migrate from one place to another place in search of food, shelter and so many reasons. Example, birds. Some of the birds they will migrate, some of the animals they will migrate for different purpose. Okay, now children, in this lesson we learnt about lot of characteristics about animals. Okay, I hope you understood the lesson. In the next class, I am going to start the new lesson for you. Until then, bye children.